Sure. Hello. Okay, patch 69. What a mess, eh? Oh my goodness. Very difficult. I'm going to park the conversation about loot. I feel like for the loot conversation, we're still kind of in the middle of their changes. It's, in my opinion, it's a bit soon to do a proper critique. I want to see how the vision plays out with further adjustments, maybe some response to the player feedback that has been loud and clear. For now, it does seem like the game has become more of a battle royale, a casual battle royale, and less of like a dungeon crawling, loot-based adventure extraction game. Well, I mean, the game hasn't felt like an adventure in a long time. It desperately is lacking some randomization in player spawns, in mob spawns, in map tile arrangement, but that's also another topic. Could be invis. Got the block I needed. Got him. Very, very close. The other major parts of this patch have been the reduction of player HP, the weakening of armor, the increase of weapon damage, and all the buffs to barbarians. Ooh. GG, man. Fighting barbs is not easy to do for a lot of classes. For shield fighters, for me in particular, whenever Barbarian is the meta, Shield Fighter, I feel, is kind of like the anti-meta. It's the hard counter to Barbarian in a lot of cases. And for me personally, I like to see more melee in general in the dungeon, even if it is lazy-ass Barb builds that aim to one-tap everything. Oh, darn. Should have waited. I should have waited. Yes, Ranger is a huge risk right now, and now that everyone has less HP and PDR is less of a thing, the threat of bows and crossbows has never been greater, but I feel like it's also fairly easy to knock those players down. If you can use your shield and close the gap, you can take out a Ranger. In my opinion, in the solo lobbies, it's the Barbs right now that are the biggest challenge. Ooh, I hear plate boots. Let's see. Ooh, crystals. So in this video, we'll talk about the three main weapons I see barbarians running: the Zweihander, the Bardiche, and the Felling Axe. And we'll go over some strategies to play against them, against those weapons, as a shield fighter. Ooh, very good, very good. Very good, very good. And then I'll finish up with a few recommendations, another nudge to encourage you to try a sneakier style of play. Because everyone has less HP right now, if you can hide in the dark and get the drop on someone, you've got a significant advantage. If he goes to the door, we'll block him in. That's the strength talking. And also the stealth, right? That rogue got rogued. And I've been able to take out some pretty kitted players just because I've been playing a bit slower, a bit more patiently, embracing the darkness. So here we go. Yeah. Goated. Gimme, 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 gimme. Barb weapon number 1, the Zweihander. The Zweihander is a big swinging weapon, and barbarians who run as Zweihander want to fight in big open spaces to accommodate this. You gain a significant advantage if you're able to fight around a doorway or in a narrower hallway space where the walls or the edges of the map are more of an issue for the swinging Zweihander. You can get a big boost in combat if 30%, 40% of the barbarian Zweihander swings are being auto-blocked by the walls. So against the Zweihander, it's very important for you to choose your environment carefully to maximize that advantage. Zweihander is difficult to block because of the velocity of the swings. Trying to block the main blade of the weapon is a dice roll. Also, because it's a side-swiping weapon, it's easier for the barbarian to aim high or aim low, to target your head or target your feet, to get around your shield. Oh, almost got him. To combat this, to make the weapon easier to block, I recommend closing the gap, getting as close as you can to the barbarian, and aim for their hands. Aiming for the hands that hold the Zweihander seems to be the most reliable way to block the weapon. It's effectively a handle block, and this means you also don't need to rely on perfect block to interrupt the weapon combo because the handle of the weapon has no impact power. You got outplayed, brother. My goodness. So if you get close, aim for the hands, get the handle block, you can interrupt their combo and counterattack for good damage. Next up is the Bardiche. The Bardiche is a very challenging weapon that has a fairly dynamic attack combo. It swings overhead for attack 1, it has a stabbing thrust for attack 2, and a side-swiping horizontal swing for attack 3. Each of these attacks are hard to block in their own way, but the first attack in the combo I find is the easiest. Overhead attacks in general in Dark and Darker seem to be a bit easier for me to block than the side-swiping attacks.
No!
Where's my utility?
Nice.
The Bardiche also stacks really well with Crush, so most barbarians who favor a Bardiche will also have Crush to maximize their impact power. This means your heater shield will not be able to interrupt the attack combo of a Bardiche for a Crush barbarian. My recommendation to counter this is to run Perfect Block. Perfect Block maximizes the impact resistance of your shield, and it means that a successful block will interrupt the attack combo of the Bardiche. The last thing I'll say about fighting a Bardiche is because the second attack is a thrust. Thrusting attacks in this game can clip through your shield if you are too close. And because of this, it's very unreliable to try to block that thrusting attack. Do not try to block the second thrust. It's better to try to space, move away, keep your distance, than it is to try to block and suffer the damage consequence of that thrust piercing your shield. It's a challenge. You have to beat both the player and the game in this instance, but it is possible if you play slow and steady. Good luck. We got him. The felling axe is ostensibly the least threatening weapon. It doesn't have a great reach. It doesn't have a side-swinging attack that is hard to block. It is a fairly straightforward, middle-out kind of weapon that seems easy enough to deal with on paper. But the difficulty, the main challenge of the felling axe is its very quick reset time. It's almost a weapon that does better if it is blocked. This means that if you block a felling axe attack, the amount of time it takes that weapon to reset is surprisingly short, and there's often not enough time for you to block, counterattack, and reset before your opponent is swinging again. This can be very frustrating. So it can be in your advantage to try more of a spacing game to get the felling axe to miss, to whiff, because the reset time after a whiff is much longer and much more easier to punish. So keep that in mind. Missed. Whiffed him. Trade him. Nice. You can also get a pretty reliable handle block on the base of the weapon, on the butt end of the handle of the felling axe. There is an active hitbox there, so if you are close enough and you are crouching and looking up, sometimes your shield can clip the underside of that butt end of the handle, and that will interrupt the combo, and you can use that to your advantage. The last thing I'll say is, if you end up getting hit by a felling axe, either they managed to jump over your shield or you weren't able to put your block up in time, try not to panic. You've usually got another chance. If you get hit once, you'll probably be okay. The worst thing you can do is attack in response. If you get hit, just accept you've been hit, stay calm, and stick with blocking. Very good. Because of the swing speed and the nature of the swing pattern, the felling axe is the ripest cheese the barbarian has for PvP. But you can beat it if you're calm, you can beat it with good blocking, you can beat it by punishing the whiffs with good spacing. It's possible. Just try to stay as calm as you can.
What is that ability?
Damn. Damn. Got him. Get wrecked. Okay, and the last portion of the video is going to be more of like a PvP highlight compilation that just shows some of the success I've been able to have by playing slower, playing more stealthily, and playing from the dark. GG, man. Because now with the reduced HP, with the increased weapon damage, with the reduced efficacy of armor, getting the drop on another player can 9 times out of 10 win you the fight. So there's never been a better time to be patient and good at playing from the darkness. Ba-bonk. Ba-bonk. Try to create pockets of dark that aren't all-encompassing. If you can make a good amount of darkness that will conceal you, but won't make the environment seem more suspicious, that's a great place to hide and wait for another player. Also, just having the ability to wait patiently in a dark space for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 50 seconds, you'll be very surprised at the amount of players who will just come on by and will close the gap for you, making your job much easier than maybe they expect. And maybe the last tip for this section is running the perk Counterattack gives you a movement speed bonus after a successful block. And so this is very helpful, I find, in chasing rangers and chasing rogues and chasing any class that wants to run from you but is also throwing projectiles or firing a bow. That's all it takes, man. Every time you block a projectile, thanks to Counterattack, you get a 10% movement speed bonus. And this is really, really helpful in closing the gap in pursuit. And because players these days are way squishier than they used to be, all it takes is a few hits from the mace to drop them. It's almost never been a better time to rely on your shield to close the gap on a kiting player, to get the blocks you need on the arrows, on the throwing knives, to give you that movement speed bonus to close the gap, get into melee range, and do the damage you need to win the fight. So, Counterattack OP for chasing down kiters. Give it a shot, and I hope you enjoy some good results. GG, brother. GG, man. Yoink.
Brother, come walk into my trap, brother. Come on. Please.
Looks like you walked into my trap, brother. Okay, that's it. That's the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in watching me struggle in this new meta landscape, stop by the board meeting. It is a weekly live stream. Kicks off at 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on the YouTube channel. It's a blocking-focused, shield-focused live stream where I mess around with fighter builds, I mess around with shield fighter tech, and I try to have as much fun as I can. Okay, we'll leave it there. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. We'll see you again soon.